Alright guys, so today I want to talk to you about different types of primers and the results that you get when you use them correctly. Okay, Army Painter. After you use this primer, your models will look about like this. Okay, very smooth, good coverage, no real worries. Alright, it's a good base to start building up from. Okay, does that make sense? Final product with that, right? So it's good base. You can start layering on your details, and it lets us build up from there. Okay. So got a couple finished models with that primer. You guys can get a look at how that works out. Okay. Now Army Painter is probably one of the higher end primers. Okay. Well known, but it is very expensive. All right, so it also can be kind of hard to get a hold of. All right, so what I've been doing actually is I've started moving on to different brands such as Krylon. Now this particular one is very important. Paint and primer together. Paint and primer. That is your goal here. Now I do recommend getting a flat or no more gloss than a satin. Now, depending on your paint methods, satin is okay. All right. So, this is a Krylon, and some of the results that you can get here. Say, Primaris Gravis Captain. So this is the Primaris Captain in Gravis Armor. Notice how smooth that Krylon goes on. It gives us good base to build our colors up. Okay. And then another model, that same kind of styling, same Krylon. Okay. So not much of a difference at all between the overall quality from Army Painter or Krylon. Now, Krylon isn't a modeling company paint per se, but it is a very large company, and they do have a lot of money to put into their science behind their paints. Okay, so I wouldn't be afraid of using like a $6 or $8 can of Krylon. Okay, now another type of paint that I've been using is the Rust-Oleum Ultra Cover Paint and Primer. Okay, again, it's not a model paint, but it is a paint and primer, and this is in a flat black. Okay, again, another really big company that probably sells more paint in an afternoon than GW or Army Painter can in a year. So, examples. This is a primed model in the black. Try to get the focus there. Alright. Again, good and smooth. Good coverage. Does not clog the detail. Right? And it gives us a good base to build from. Okay. Some finished models. Alright, and this was prime black. Dry brushed up, and then had blue wash applied to give it that depth. Okay. Again, that's just a Rust-Oleum black primer. Now, I'm a huge fan of colored primer because it does most of our basing work for us. Okay. Now, the one here, kind of an infantry model and a vehicle-ish model. Okay. And that is again with that black Rust-Oleum primer. Really smooth, really easy to work on, takes to the acrylics very well. Okay. Again, another $6 or $8 can of paint versus the $30 can from GW. Right. Now this one is relatively new paint that I was waiting for a long time. This is a kind of a different one because this is a metallic paint and primer. Okay, paint and primer. It's that same Ultra Cover brand from Rust-Oleum. Metallic. Now, the tricky thing with this one is most metallic paints don't have that primer built in. What the primer actually does is help it to dry faster. Okay. Now, this one doesn't dry as fast as the other primers because it is also metallic. But it does dry fairly fast, and it does create a wonderful base primer for any kind of gold armor schemes. Okay. Again, $6 or $8 can, depending on where you get it from. Okay. Example of what it looks like. Very smooth. Okay, very clean. Sorry, it's a very fiddly model. Alright. And then I got some models here. They're not quite done, but they'll help express to you the quality of that paint. Okay. Really clean, really easy. And again, compared to a $30 can, you know, I know what I'm picking. Right? Absolutely gorgeous finish. Very smooth, doesn't clog up any of that detail. Okay, really good product. Alright, so how I typically go about priming. Alright, my paint stick, handle here. I can mount my miniatures. I can get at it from the bottom, top, and in between. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I do that. What I normally use is a double-sided adhesive tape. Okay. So, take my X-Acto blade. What I'll do is I'll cut some pieces for the feet. Now what I'm going to be working on today is the HQ choices from the Imperial side of the Shadow Sphere box. Right? Let me pull these off and show you how I go about getting that situated. Alright. So my first one here, pull off those little rectangles that I just made. Kind of sticking to me. This is that librarian model. I'll just press it to the feet. Trying to do this behind the camera. Press it to his feet. Okay. Pull off the little cover. Pull off the cover. And then press them down nice and firmly to our paint stick. He's good to go. Do that again for the next two. Now, for a typical paint stir, which is what I'm using here, you can get about 5 models on it if you really wanted to push it, but I'm not going to push it today. You know, and you can actually batch paint on these types of stands. Okay, which, you know, if you're trying to do a larger army with a whole lot of models, you know, it's a pretty good technique there. You go down to the edge here, press them down firmly, move over to the next side, grab my last couple squares, that Primaris Lieutenant, which we all know and love, lieutenants. Come on, GW. Do we need any more lieutenants? I don't think so. Have some heavy weapon teams. Let's do something like that. Position him. Press him down firmly. Alright. Now, I can go outside, spray under, face, top, we're good to go. See you in a minute. Alright, so after shaking up your can for a good 2 or 3 minutes, the trick to priming is you want to start here, off and away from the model, go past the models, and end over here. The reason being is when we press the button, more paint is in this area then through the middle. And when we go to stop, more paint shows up here. We don't want to take any chances of clogging up detail. So I'm going to go ahead and do a few passes for you guys. Okay. Rotate them around. Get the sides. Okay. Come through on the top. Check on this side here. Again, since I'm using a colored primer, this particular color is going to be what I end up with after layering. Okay, so I want to make sure I get good coverage. Gonna once over, making sure I'm happy with what I got. Okay. And perfect coverage isn't necessarily what we're trying to get, because our shades will cover a lot of those recessed gaps. But there you go. There is some primed up models. Again, look how smooth we're at with a $6 or $8 can of primer. Okay. Alrighty guys, now that our models have had a chance to dry after that priming, I figure I'd give you guys a real up close look at how they came out. Not too bad all in all. Very smooth. Okay. But that is the basics of spray priming with a more affordable option. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Please consider liking, subscribing, and if you want, go ahead and share those videos. Alright guys, have a great day.